All right, welcome back to another episode of D2D Success Stories. Here today with Parker Vassau. Welcome, bro.
Thanks, man.
Stoked to be here. Is that proper pronunciation?
Yes, Vassau. Yep.
Love it. Cool, dude. So let me just intro you a little bit, and then we'll kind of go back to the beginning from there. So VP of Sales at Point Marketing.
Point Marketing.
Marketing.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, we were telling. So Point recently kind of sold the pest company and branched and.
Right.
Anyway, awesome story. So
you
guys have like 150 reps.
Yep.
Been in the game for
8-9 years. Yep.
Love it.
In the alarm game for 2 years, and then the pest game since then. So long time in the pest game.
Super OG.
Yep.
Super OG. How much like production is Point Marketing going to do this summer?
We will do 12+ million. Our pest side, and then we actually have a solar division as well. I run our pest division, about 150 reps. We started with north of that, and we've stabilized about at 150 reps. So
it's awesome, dude.
Yeah, man.
Sweet, cool. So with that as kind of the intro, let's go back to the beginning a little bit. Tell us a little bit about growing up, where you're from, that type of thing.
Yeah, so I grew up in Utah. I went to Cottonwood High School, so actually pretty close to here.
Nice.
My parents split when I was young, and my mom was in Utah. My dad was in San Diego. So I grew up in Utah. I went to school in Utah, but in the summers I would go visit my dad. Sports for me were huge growing up. Played all kinds of sports. Fell in love with basketball and golf. Those are my two first loves.
The big ones, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Golf's a great game. You can play it till you're old. Love golf. So
right.
Pretty transformative thing for me that happened when I was a kid was, as a 14-year-old, I had a tumor in my stomach.
Okay.
And had to go without food and water for 4 months. And so pretty traumatic thing that happened in my childhood that toughened me up.
Like a tube or
what?
I
had to get fed through a PICC line in my arm, lost 50 pounds.
In your arm?
Yeah, I had to get fed, and they put these PICC lines in your arms that keep you alive. So
wow.
Yeah. So that was a big thing for me with my childhood.
Are you hospitalized during this?
Yeah, I got checked out of school for 2 semesters or a whole year, So, so that was crazy. I would say I got a lot of my confidence from sports, though. Bounced back from that, played sports in high school. Academics for me were tough. I was kind of a box checker with school, but not a very good test taker. I have the lowest ACT test scores of anyone that I know.
Oh, nice.
And I actually took it twice just to make sure that the first time wasn't a fluke, but it was legit. I got a 16 on the ACT test.
Nice. But you got good grades though?
Decent. Just because I was kind of a task doer, but just
hard worker.
Really, hard worker. Wasn't lazy. I was a good boy, but. Anyway, so low confidence when it came to academics. Went on a mission. I served in Eastern Europe. So I served in Bulgaria and Turkey on my mission.
Yeah, dude. Tough.
Which was the trenches. Yes.
Yeah, tough.
Toughened me up, amplified a lot of the lessons that I feel like I learned growing up in sports.
Let me go back before we move on. What'd you play in basketball?
Shooting guard. My junior year I started at shooting guard, and then my senior year I had to play point guard because our point guard graduated. So
somebody had to.
Yeah, someone had to do it.
Yeah.
So I was a lefty.
It's nice when you're your position aligns with how tall you grow. I grew up playing 5, and then all of a sudden when I was 15, I didn't get any taller.
Oh yeah. So you were like a big boy 5, but not like a tall 5.
Yeah, they're like, let's try to teach you to play on the wing, and I'm like, bro, I don't shoot. So I wound up just quitting and focusing on football.
Yeah. I'm sure you were a good football player. You're
I was
big
really
dude.
good at football.
Yeah.
Basketball, less so.
Yeah. Well, I've stalked you and seen some of your weightlifting videos, and you're a strong man.
I was dialed on that.
Yeah. I was a shooter, and I'd never stepped foot in the paint. So I was that guy. Throw me the ball, I'll dish the ball.
Yeah.
I was a tiny. I mean, I had put weight on from the tumor and all that stuff, but I was still, I don't know, 150 pounds in high school.
You know that stereotype of coach subs you in, you're just super earnest looking, goody white boy, and the other team's shooter.
Yeah.
And they haven't even seen you shoot yet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Especially out of Utah.
Yeah.
I feel I'd play in Vegas tournaments and stuff growing up. We were a pretty competitive team, and that was the white guy that stood at the 3 and just played my role, stayed in my lane. Yeah.
Love it. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Which I know is tough, dude. Cause like, 2 years of like finding activities, right?
Yeah. So street contacting, nothing given to us, no free lunches from church members, no lessons given. Like we just pounded the pavement for 8-9 hours a day. And Bulgaria is like obviously an ex-communist country, so lots of scar tissue from their past. And so walking into that mission, trying to have success, converting, a pretty calloused type of people it's a tough ask.
Are they like largely atheist, or?
They would say they're Eastern Orthodox, but it's very like tradition based.
Yeah.
Like we used to walk around on the street and like we'd have these like surveys, and one of the questions is like, who's God to you? And it was like some kind of power, but
it's like culturally Eastern Orthodox,
100%,
almost agnostic,
very unbelieving.
Though. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. So, but I would say, learned a ton, man. Like how to work hard, show up every day. One thing I say often is like, for me, it was like life's university. Like I learned how to learn.
Yeah.
Like I said, in high school, I had a really hard time locking in and like learning and learning a new language and all that. Like with the phone aside and removing distractions, like confidence came. Like I was like, I'm actually like a pretty smart person. Like I can learn this thing and get around. And
well, it's like, is it like a fixed mindset versus growth 100%. Mindset thing?
That's like, exactly right.
Yeah, because sometimes people think they're bad at a thing. It's like, no, well, I've never even tried to be good at it.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't good instantly, so I quit. And
that's
boom,
right.
And it's just like, I'm bad at that. I don't do that.
Right.
Which I do that too. That's how I can vocalize this.
Yeah.
So learn how to learn. That's big. Do you guys knock doors or just street contact mostly?
Mainly street contact. I would say like 10% of it was door knocking. We'd go in these big, we call them blocks, just these big concrete communist buildings.
Yeah, like I know what you mean.
Oh yeah, like you'd see in Russia or whatever. And we'd kind of break into one of the blocks and start at the very top and just work all the way down. And I just remember in the winter being like freezing cold, like knocking in there. It's like pitch black, so they answer the door and they can't even see you. And
oh, wow.
It was so street contacting was more effective.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy times, man. I got thrown off a moving bus one time, spit on, just
love that.
All the stuff. Yeah. It's the war stories, so, but that was like really transformative for me. And then I ended up in Utah County after that, going to college. I went to BYU. I found like a back doorway to getting into BYU through testing out of the language. So like a bunch of my GPA credits transferred.
And then you get in as like a 4.0 transfer student.
Exactly. Yeah. So I learned the language well, and then that was like my back doorway into getting into the school. So I went to BYU and moved down to Utah County. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what year is that when you get home?
I got home in 2014.
Yeah. Same as me.
Yeah. Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you?
I was a 2011 high school graduate.
Yeah, I was 10. Did you go when you were 18 or 19?
I was 19.
19. Yeah. I went when it was 19, but I was actually like 20.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Cool. So you get home, you're 21. Utah County, and it's 2014.
That's right.
So talk about getting recruited for door to door.
Yeah. So I think because I knew academics were going to be kind of a grind for me, I was like, I got to go find some underdog way to create some wealth and like get ahead,
I like that.
So I think I was like a somewhat easy recruit. My cousin was a manager for Vivint at the time.
Okay.
And I think he hit me up and he was like, pretty proactive with it, but I was like, sweet dude, like let's run it. Like I did work a couple jobs right when I got home, where I was like trading time for money, and I just could quickly see like, wow, this is going to be really stressful, trying to put myself through school and do and work at the same time.
Yep.
Or do school and work at the same time. So anyway, he reached out to me. We went to Cleveland, Ohio, my first summer. And I think I chose to do sales again just because I felt like the money in that game was going to be better than the money at home working in an hourly job.
Now you didn't really like do the rounds or whatever. Like you had the cousin hookup. That's what you're going with.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right. Not a lot of research.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this sounds like it would pay better than a job at home.
Sure.
Right. I had already worked jobs at home, so I was like pretty convicted in that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, went out my first summer.
Yeah. That's good too. Like, I mean, I guess there's probably like different trains of thought here, like rookies who go out with like sky high expectations and big goals versus rookies who go out and are just like, dude, if I make 20 grand and I literally just beat my home alternatives.
Yeah, that's right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that was my mentality. My first.
Well, I'm not even sure if I don't like that. Maybe that's healthier. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you're right. Like maybe looking back, it was like, maybe it was like a sequence thing, right? Maybe I needed to be there first with my mentality so that the rest of my life I could be like, I needed to outgrow that. Right. But I was definitely there. Like at one point, and I would say my first 2 summers probably, it was kind of that, like, if I make 20, 30 grand, that's better than the alternative. And so like, I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah.
But I definitely wasn't like fighting for the inches, you know?
Right.
Like I remember on a Saturday, like laying in the grass, like FaceTiming my wife, like, you know, like I got a deal. Like, this is what I would have made at home today. So I'm feeling pretty good.
You start knowing like what the good gas station brands are. You're like, no, like Maverick has the better bathrooms, but 7-Eleven has better energy drinks.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's so not fighting for the inches. I would say I always tell people I had like an earning thermostat. Right, it was like I probably could go make 50 grand my first summer, but man, that would like the cost of doing that feels like a lot. So my first summer I sold 67 alarms. The rent bonus was 60. So that was like my big goal. Like I got to get the rent for free. Mm-hmm. And I remember like losing sleep at night after the summer, watching my funded accounts like drop down close to 60. And that was like a big deal for me, you know? Which at the time it just was a big deal.
I'm not super acquainted with alarm numbers, but that's decent rookie numbers.
Yeah, 60, it was slightly above average.
It's like 180, 200 pest accounts.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say like decent rookie summer in alarms. Mm-hmm. And it was good enough again for me to be like, hey, let's go run that back. And that second summer, I didn't look around a ton, just kind of loyal to the group that I was working with.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Don't need to think.
Yeah. That second summer, didn't recruit a ton or try to. I did recruit a friend. I got married that year. So my wife and I did our honeymoon in Hawaii, and then we flew out to St. Louis, Missouri, you know, the hood. And
welcome to our married life, honey.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to provide the world for you.
Like this is what it could look like at some point in the future with Hawaii, and then like, but we got to start. We got to start at the beginning. We're going to St. Louis, Missouri.
That's funny. My wife, I just like signed us up for an apartment for when we got married without her seeing it. And when she saw it for the first time after our honeymoon, she cried.
That is classic.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Like, what have you done to me?
Yeah. Well, in fairness, it was ratty. Yeah, it was gross. But I'm one of those,
we've all come a long way. It's all right.
You know, like the joke about like single guys who can just sleep on a mattress with you know, like steak in the fridge. That's me. So I have low standards.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's funny.
Let's go back to the first summer just briefly.
Yeah. Did
you begin able to sell, or did you have like a tough start? Somebody's got to help you out type of thing, or?
I would say I naturally kind of growing up, and then probably the mission helped, just like connecting with people.
Yeah.
Never was afraid of the idea of like knocking someone's door and bothering them at their house. Mm-hmm. You know, I train a lot of reps now, and like I teach this, like, dude, you're a blessing. You're not a nuisance to people, right? Yep. And that I never totally internally had to battle that a ton myself. So yeah, I would say it came somewhat naturally for me.
You can at least gut out some laydowns as long as you work.
And I would say that's mainly what I did that summer.
Yeah.
I don't think I had a ton of like skill set. I don't think I was trained super well on like how to overcome objections. We were like switch over a game, like knock someone with the alarm system, show your stuff, try to get in their house. Yeah. And you know, show them that you have more value you could provide at a similar price, and connect with the customer, switch them over. Okay. You know, so there were some things I learned for sure, but you know, worked the hours for the most part. Mm-hmm. And That was my first summer for sure.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Yep. And then second summer?
St. Louis, Missouri, second summer. I sold 120 accounts.
Yeah.
Strong. So I had a good second summer. Yeah, that would be like doing mid 300s in pest control. And brought one friend. I made probably 55 grand that summer.
Yeah.
So it was good. Like that
2015 money.
That's right. Yeah. Back then it was good.
Yeah.
It was good money.
Right.
I was in college. I was like a sophomore in college. And that was like the first time in my life where I felt like, you know, I just gotten married and it was like, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, bought a car and I felt like we were like balling out, but, you know, it was good. Like it was serving its purpose. But I was still very like.
Bought a second car?
Bought a second car.
Yeah. So you guys were sharing prior to that?
Yeah, that's right.
I always love getting that out just because, me and my wife shared a broken down little Civic for a long time, man. Long time.
Yeah, we had a Subaru that was just nasty. Like
so
summer sales car.
She's just chilling at the apartment while you take it to work.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was cheap. Like, I don't even think I'd like bought Wi-Fi for her. Like, I don't know what, you know, I feel. Yeah, there's a lot of things I would do different looking back, but
no, we were broke.
We were broke, and I was just like, we just got to get okay.
Stressed out, young husband, trying to like Dave Ramsey his way through college.
That's right. Yeah. Like money in the envelope.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I'm with it.
Yep.
I'm not saying I endorse it, but
no, I definitely don't nowadays.
I was there too.
Yeah, there's a time in a season, and we were in that season. So, yeah.
Okay, so talk about like getting home from the second summer. Like, are you just liking alarms? Like,
so I had some things that I was curious. Like at that point, I was curious about some other opportunities out there. Okay. So I would say for the first time, I was like kind of open-minded to like what was out there. I had done pretty well, and so I felt like, hey, I have like something. I have a little bit of a resume now, some street cred.
Yeah.
And there was that was a big year for me. Like that second to third summer, I would say I got self-educated. That's like the phrase I like to use. Like I don't owe, I feel like a ton of my success to formal education. Although I finished at BYU, I studied marketing.
There you go.
But like that year, read a lot of books. I got obsessed with this idea of buying real estate, like young, starting to invest in real estate young. Yep. Sat down with a mentor named Corbin Church. He's a professor at BYU. He runs like their entrepreneurship program.
I've heard that name.
He's a big mentor of mine, and he walked me through this path of like, dude, if you bought a house a year from here till you were 30 years old, like you would be worth a couple $1 million and you would never stress about money again.
Yeah.
And I just got hooked. I was
it means all the more when you're young, because then
100%.
40 years you can cash flow this property if you want. You know?
Yeah. So I got hooked on that idea. So I was like, I'm not yet married to like doing door to door long term, but like I'm gonna do it this year all in. Like I'm gonna recruit some friends. Yeah. I'm gonna train. I'm gonna work a long summer and fight for the inches.
And like see what you can do.
Yeah.
Like
so So another mentor I crossed paths with that year was the owner of Point.
Okay.
And he kind of headhunted me, and I was curious about pest control.
How'd you meet him?
Met him through a mission friend.
Okay.
And it was like actually a kid I met in the MTC that's he's one of the other partners in our business. So there's 4 of us, and he's the other kind of junior partner.
Yeah.
But we were MTC bunk mates, and at Point he had sold 500 and something accounts his second summer. And
nice.
Anyway, I trusted him, like good dude. And I really loved the owner who he was working with and running with. And just like Gabe Cheriton for me has been someone that I've wanted to model my life after, like from day one meeting him.
Can I just say too, like, so the guy who recruited you mentioned trusted him.
Yeah.
And the Gabe guy who's one of the owners, right?
Right.
You say wanted to model my life after him.
Yeah.
Those are big recruiting things. I always
100%.
I always say that, like, I'll tell it to my guys about their own recruiting. It's like, hey, you've got to like model something that some young kid would want to trade lives with you, at least in some ways, right?
Yep.
You've also got to be trusted. And then it's kind of a little bit of an interesting like character study for me too. Certain guys you bring in and then they start to get seasoned a little bit. You'd be like, hey, recruit a team. And nobody from their life wants to come work with them. And it's just like, ooh, like you can change, that's not doom and gloom. You can change, but I guess that up to this point in your life, you haven't been a person who people consider credible, which is kind of like a tough thing to own.
Right.
And the opposite applies too. There's some guys who just like, I don't even know what he's doing, but he says, I've got a cool thing. And you're just like, I'll do it on your word, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, leadership is about character and competence. Mm-hmm. And I saw both of those in Gabe. Like I was like, I love the way he lives his life on and off the court. And he's a business guy that I feel like if I go and follow, I could level up.
Yeah.
And when I interacted with him, he was like, dude, why are you not leading? Like, why are you not impacting people? And I was like, I've just never looked at it as
felt like I should.
Yeah. So he kind of challenged me to come work with them and lead. And that was the first summer I really took recruiting seriously. So and that was actually the summer Alex Butterfield, who helps run the ops, is with you guys. He came out, a bunch of other guys. We went to Oregon, recruited like 10 or 11 guys that summer, and had a really good year.
Nice.
I sold 350, and I think 9 of those 11 guys like came back for a fourth year. Like they just sold well. Like they sold.
When you say 9-11 guys, is this your team or is this the whole Point operation?
This is not the whole Point operation. I think Point at that time had like 2 teams.
Okay.
So we were small. And at the time I was like, I didn't even realize, like I just went from Vivint, like thousands of reps to this, like what I thought was like because I just looked at him like, dude, he's competent and has character. He was just off the back of another exit. And so he partnered up with the founder of Point.
Yeah.
The guy that recruited me. Mm-hmm. And so we were basically like a ma and pa, like, and I had I just wouldn't have felt like, now looking back, I'm like, dude, we were small. Like I've helped build out.
Good for them with like how they presented themselves though, right?
Yeah.
Because you didn't look at it like, ooh, small.
No,
brand new
trusted.
Startup.
Yeah. So we went to Oregon. I co-managed with, we had kind of a big team. There were like 3 managers and I was one of them.
Yeah.
And we ran a really big team that year and did really well. And that was the first summer in my life where I made 6 figures. And I came home and I was a senior in college at BYU and bought a 4-plex and did the whole house hack thing where we lived in one of the units, rented out the other 3 while I was like finishing school.
Yeah.
And I just caught the bug. I was like, dude, this is gonna work, you know? And real estate takes time to stabilize, and there was some stressful stuff out of the gates. It wasn't like all like up and to the right away, but like it was very like I was like, this could really work. Like this plan that Corbin Church laid out for me, if I just go do this for 5-6 years and manage teams and lean into this, like, so going into my 4th year, I was like, I'm gonna do this for a while.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Yeah. So yeah, it's funny that the 3rd summer is you come home to do your senior year at BYU because say you wanted to go into marketing.
Yeah.
That's when you would be like applying to jobs.
Right. Yep.
And I guess you were just kind of like, no, I'll sell.
Yeah, I felt like a black sheep at BYU. It was very like, what's your Pepsi, you were a Pepsi Cola or Frito-Lay this summer? Like, and I was like, no, I'm like, I got a different thing going on, man. Like I seriously felt like a black sheep at BYU in my major in the business school, which I'm passionate about. Like, I think that there's room for entrepreneurs and business owners, and like our world needs a lot of them, and school, like sometimes a formal education needs to get out of the way. Like, but anyway, that's a whole different topic. But yeah, I was at that point going into my senior year very much like, I'm gonna finish this thing out. But I'm in fact, a story I tell sometimes is my graduation. I didn't go to my graduation. I didn't walk because it was like a week into summer, and I was so hungry to like go crush it that 4th summer that I sold 7 on the day that like people were blowing me up like, dude, why are you not at our graduation? I was like, dude, your degree's not going to save you. Like I got other things I'm up to,
I've got a screenshot saved in my phone. It's like my mom being like, you just got mail from Utah State asking XYZ about your graduation. What do you want me to say? And I'm just like, mail it.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
Tell them to mail it. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, I don't want the cap and gown.
Yeah.
Like I think I bought a cap and gown just so my mom would like had a picture, you know.
Yeah, I feel like she got to do the thing.
Yeah, but my like grad pictures are like at her house, like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny.
So we kind of breezed past it, but
yeah.
I guess transitioning to pest wasn't tough for you, just on like a product level.
I liked it, and I know everyone's biased towards like their
what they do.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I like pest. Like it's rookies win. Mm-hmm. When my 2 years at Vivint, like we were turning over rookies like crazy. That 67 that I sold I was by far the top rookie on my team.
Really?
And then my second summer, I think we had one of our rookies finished, and the other one, like the rest, went home.
Yeah.
So it was just like I had low confidence that rookies were going to win.
Well,
and
dude,
that wasn't like a Vivint thing or like I don't know. Like for me at the time, it was just like call it what you want to call it, like systems or whatever. But I like that pest control is like a base hit game.
Yes.
And that you can get momentum. Uh-huh. And early in the day when you go get that deal, that first or second deal, you're like, I'm not working for free anymore, and I'm just loosey goosey. And I liked that.
Kind of takes the like the variability out of it because it's smaller but more frequent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it sounds like you were like a very mature early 20s kid, so sink or swim, like you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But what you want is you want to be in a game where you can bring in.
That's right.
Or at least this is how I think about it. I try to set up my system in the window game such that I can bring in a goofy 19-year-old.
That's right.
Honestly, I'll bring in like the mom's basement World of Warcraft kids sometimes, and I can still teach them to sell windows.
Yeah.
You know? So
that's right. Yeah, I mean, I have some buds that have worked with you guys, and I think you guys have done an amazing job at creating a system where you can cast a net wide and recruit all types of people. And I liked that about pest control. Like
and it's like, sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
It's like, there's multiple angles to it too, because sometimes people are like, well, we want to work with like the best. I'm like, no, I also want the best.
Yeah.
I just I don't want it to be only for the best.
Yeah, the best are your 20% that do 80% of your output, but like it's fun to be able to recruit an army, and sometimes you don't know who the best is going to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so like I liked to be able to cast that net wide and be like, I mean, dude, I've had some guys that I thought would be the best and they didn't work out, but I've had in pest, I feel like you can cast that net wide. So that third summer, people won. It was fun, like seeing first year reps make 40, 50, 60 grand. And I just felt like my conviction went up. I was like, I like pest because I think people can win here, which is just kind of what helped me feel like I'm going to go double down and start recruiting more seriously and stuff.
Love it. Okay, so year 3 to year 4.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you recruited a lot of people and went nuts.
Yeah. We had a good year. I ran a team in Washington, but we also had I guess that year I had 2 groups. Uh-huh. So I had an Oregon team that Alex helped run.
Nice.
And then a Washington team, and I ran that one. So 2 teams that year. I sold 550 that year, so leveled up my personal production.
Yeah.
And then people, we did it. We had a great year that year.
That's big. Yeah. And that's what, like 2017 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just putting this out there, like I feel like in 2024 there's a lot of kids on social media selling 550.
Yeah.
It's still good.
Yeah.
But in 2017 it was probably even better than now, comparatively speaking.
Yeah, I mean, dude, nowadays it's amazing what people are doing. Yeah. Like I never did a golden door. My thing was always like, I got real doors, I got real estate. Like, you know, like, well, no, and I'm not discounting. Like, I think there are so many talented kids nowadays. It's unbelievable. You know.
Well, you know, there's so much that's been added to all the little different door-to-door verticals, just like the training.
Yeah.
That's been discovered, hadn't even been thought of, and definitely hadn't been systemized in such a way where somebody can teach you it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think even 5 years ago.
Yeah, there's a roadmap now, which is cool. Super cool.
Yeah. Cool, dude. So 550, 2 teams.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just talk about like transitioning to being more of a leader.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I wanted to lead from the front. That was important to me. I ended up doing a bunch of summers even past that because I think like a lot of leaders, like I had a really hard time not being in the trenches and leading out. Yeah. So did a lot of summers, moving my wife all over the place. But leadership for me has been the place that I have loved. Like, I've loved that component, and it's for sure been the piece of the job that has kept me in the game. Mm-hmm. I love helping people, reach their potential, overcome mental barriers. And for me, like, the thing that gets me up in the morning nowadays is like, I want to go help a bunch of people do what I've done in real estate, like buy assets young and get ahead. And so I love casting that vision for others, and it, like, for sure is the most exciting part of the job. And it kind of always has been. Like, even that third summer in door-to-door, first in pest, like, I would say I fell in love with the leadership component in a big way. Mm-hmm. And as I've gotten older, like, I've just tried to level up and learn new things. But I think your point that you made earlier, like, I call it value gap. Like, there's got to be a gap in value between who you are and what you're doing and what your people are doing. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's like, why are you still their leader? Yeah. And so I've just tried my best the last, I guess it's been 5-6 years, even since those summers, years 3 and 4. And like, I'm just trying more and more every year to level up and help people keep hitting new heights and stuff.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of, and you've been at it a while, dude. There's a lot of longevity there. So
yeah.
When did you? I mean, I guess like kind of from the beginning, you were one of like the 2 or 3 like senior guys
OG dudes. Yeah. Like, there was Gabe Cherison, who was like, he kind of was one of the, he partnered with the founder of Point, and his role was to help blow up the door-to-door thing. Yeah. So in Point Pest Control, Jacob Borg is the founder of Point Pest Control. Uh-huh. He had a good pest control operation going. Yes. Like, a very established pest control company. Mm-hmm. When Gabe and him partnered, Gabe's role was to go headhunt some big door-to-door guys that could kind of blow up their door-to-door thing and turn Point Pest Control into a serious business. Mm-hmm. So I was one of the first guys that came over and helped make that happen. Okay. So we went from 2 branches. By the time we were done, we did, just in the Northwest, we had a summer where, I think the summer before they sold, we did 16,000 accounts, and I oversaw that and played a big role in that growth.
Talk about like, I guess just like the longevity and like bouncing back from hits. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because, dude, in 8-9 years being kind of senior OG of this whole thing, I'm sure there's been struggles and I don't know. How do you? Oh yeah. Because, dude, so many times in door to door, not to like complicate the question, but people will just be like riding a high, and it's just this perfect linear rise up and to the right the whole time. Right. And then there's some hit and it's fatal. Yeah. And it's like they don't have like a second run up in them. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. The ability to bounce back is huge. We've had down years. Yeah. Last year we had a down year. Okay. We had a down year last year.
As an org?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, just a down year, man. And we're having a great year this year. We're going to 2x our revenue this year versus what we did last year. Like, I don't know. It's for us, it's been ups and downs. Yeah. But I think that's super important for someone to just have that ability to get punched in the mouth and be like, we're going to be okay. Yeah. And stay on the boat. Yeah. And we got this. And
I guess like the way you talk about things and the vibe that you project to your people is big in 100%. Those moments.
Yeah. You can't breathing belief into your people is everything.
Yeah, you can't give any frantic energy.
And you can't vent downward, like, you can only vent upward. Like, that's good leaders only vent upward. They don't vent downward.
That's so big.
And that's freaking hard to do, Yeah. So it's lonely sometimes, right?
Yeah, and that's something that that's a little counter to what a lot of people say these days about like, oh, you have to like be vulnerable and XYZ and this, that. They start doing like therapy speak, as I call it. And that's fine. I'm not like anti that. Yep. But like you said, never downwards, like that whole thing. You see a lot of it on LinkedIn. You'll get these like LinkedIn influencer guys, again, they're always talking therapy speak, and they're like, oh, I love my CEO so much because he came out and cried in front of us. Right. And I'm just like, Are you sure?
I don't, to me, it's like you can get vulnerable and level with people, but there's a way to do it where it's like, the sky's not falling.
Yeah. I still believe in what we're doing.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The passing of belief, sometimes you have this thing where like, your people start passing their disbelief up the chain.
Yeah.
And when it gets to you, you have to tip the domino the other direction.
Yeah.
And if you
Which
ever
is
let
part
them
of your
sell
job
you,
as a leader. Like I get, my phone is, dude, as leaders, like
Yeah.
I'm sure both of our phones are always humming with like, because we tell our people you can vent upward, right?
Yeah.
Don't vent to your car group driver. Don't vent to the guy that you recruited, but like hit me up. Mm-hmm. And so it's a heavy burden, man.
Yeah.
Like it's a heavy burden. And my thing is like, I've got to have enough emotional deposits in my bank account to be able to like withdraw and like give to others. Mm-hmm. And a leader has to go find their peace and their confidence from within, mm-hmm. and then be able to go and give that downward. Right. And then when you have stuff that you got to go battle through, you got to figure it out yourself. Or if you need to go take it up the chain, like I have one partner that I report to and that's it. So it's like, if he's busy, man, I got to go to the gym or
just do something,
find something,
Yeah. Talk about that. So I think you said like, find your peace within or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have kind of, a paradigm, a way you do your day, or just the type of stuff you do to stay, strong,
centered? Yeah. So I have some things. Not all of them I've been doing for since I started. I would say as I get older, I'm like, I've got to, as we keep growing. So we're at 150 reps right now, but we have goals to be over 200 reps next year and to continue to scale out, because now we're a marketing company and we feel like we can go pour gas on it. Like we can go scale out now because we're not just feeding one pest control org.
Right.
Like we can go grow now.
Mm-hmm.
So we have big goals, and if I'm going to go build that thing out, like I have to be the guy. So I've created some systems lately in my life for sure that are, I think, pushing me to have enough emotional deposits to go and give. One of those being, I'll give him a plug, but I have a really good bud named Blake Erickson that has a morning journal. It's called the Morning Playbook. Mm-hmm. And every morning I get up, I go to the gym, and I do this exercise. It takes 10, 15 minutes, but there's a gratitude section, there's an affirmation section, and then there's like a top 10, which I think he pulled from Stephen Covey. Casey Baugh talks a lot about like doing a top 10 every day.
Yep.
But just like reminding yourself, like, why am I battling? Like, what am I pushing for?
Yeah.
What's my top 10 this year? And some of it's family, some of it's spiritual, some of it's like financial goals that I want to go and accomplish to live an abundant life. And so I do that every day. Mm-hmm. And I try to go work out every day, challenge myself, do hard things. So yeah, I have routines that I feel like I try to do to be able to go and give.
This is not a universal suggestion that works for everybody, because it's kind of fringe, but I play in a tackle football league. One of my earlier guests, Savon, he's in that league with me, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't want work to be the most aggressive thing I do.
Yeah. I like that.
You know what I mean?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not to say everybody's got to play football, but
no, I love that though.
I think you said, you like to do hard things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's important for people.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Having a release. I'm a golfer. I love playing golf.
Yeah.
Like having a way to go and just like a healthy way to go find dopamine. Like those are important things, man.
Right.
Because it's a stressful job.
Right.
And it's a heavy burden. And so and the temptation is the older I get, the temptation my first couple years in leadership was very much like, this is going to be a couple years runway and then I'm going to retire young. And like, it was that mentality of like,
start looking at finish lines.
Yeah. Cause like I said, I sat down with Corbin Church and it was like, you could become a millionaire young. And it was like, I became a millionaire young. And then it was like, dude, I'm like poor still. Like,
yeah. Am I supposed to quit?
Yeah. Like I feel like I'm still like, I'm in the first inning,
Right.
And so it was like, how do I need longevity, like you used that word. Mm-hmm. So it was like, how do I go win financially and stay in the trenches, but like enjoy being in the trenches? And I think you have to find joy in the journey and create systems in your life that allow you to happily grind.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're looking for a finish line, then you don't even ask yourself the question, how do I be happy? You say, well, I just have to tough out 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, you actually just like tolerate the unhappiness because you say it's only going to be 2 years.
Right.
But if you look at it and you're just like, there's no finish line. This is what I do. This is who I am.
Right.
Like I better enjoy it while I go.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, dude.
And I think in my mid-20s, that was the mentality of like, I'm going to do this a couple years. I'm going to buy a bunch of real estate. I'm going to retire. But it's just like, for what, like I want to build something and continue to stretch and grow. So I think your point is like super valid. Like you got to find ways along the way to create systems to enjoy the journey and live an abundant life in all ways. And it's imbalanced, but like you can live a pretty amazing life and still be out of balance for seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like a little bit of a pet topic for me.
Yeah.
But with regard to like, because spoiler, I'm super like anti this. With the with like the early retirement thing.
Right.
Something I think about a lot is like guys who are grinding hard will look at it like it would be wonderful because they've never just been in abundance of like thrills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you never get to play golf, then playing golf all day would sound wonderful.
Right.
But then as soon as you have like, you go on a trip and on the 5th day you're like, okay, dude, I can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, so I guess like
there's a thing where like as humans, if we haven't like earned our trip, then like it doesn't feel like a trip. It's like, it doesn't feel earned, and it's actually like stressed while you're doing it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I feel like retiring early, it's just like a couple days in or a couple weeks in, I think to your point, it's like I haven't earned anything that I'm getting anytime recently. And I feel like we think probably pretty similarly on this.
Well, I think part of it is that people put the thrills on a pedestal. But my like hypothetical that I always tell them is I'm just like, okay, imagine you have, infinite money. With this, you're going to do the literal most fun things, eat the best food. You're going to do the best everything. Mm-hmm. I think after 3 months, you're tired of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of examples of that.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of men go and build an amazing business, and then they think that they want something or that their ideal situation looks like X, Y, and Z, and then they go get it for, like you said, a little bit of time, and then it's like, I just think as humans, we're built to expand and grow and live our whole life down here. The other thing for me is like, I want my kids to see me grind, Yeah. And I saw that was one of the things I loved in my partner, Gabe, that I followed here was he had enough. And it wasn't like he was chasing dollars, but it was just like, it was about playing the game.
Dude, there's this funny thing. I was actually talking about this with my wife the other day. So like, without getting too like political or too much commentary on society, I guess. The trend is like delaying family formation, delaying having kids until you're financially stable, right? Mm-hmm. And some guys have actually taken this point. I've been seeing this online a lot. Like, what I want to do is I want to ball out, make a whole bunch of money, and then be able to like retire or semi-retire, and then I'll have a family. Yeah. And it's just like, I was like, your kids will only ever know you. Yeah. As a retired guy. Right. Think about growing up, how you viewed your own dad. I grew up in a pretty decent, like my parents were pretty. My mom and my stepdad were in a really nice neighborhood. Yeah, growing up. Yeah, they were pretty well off. Mm-hmm. And I saw examples in my church and in my neighborhood growing up of people that had parents that were like, "Dude, I did my job. I'm done, and like I'm going fishing or I'm doing something else." And their kids are messed up, man. Like I think it's good for kids. There's a balance here, right? Like if you're at work all day and you're not impacting your children, like you need to be. And I hope to be able to win in all areas of my life in perpetuity, like all at the same time. And I believe there's seasons of imbalance in that. So you're always going to be out of balance in some way. Like when you're home, you're out of balance. You're not working. When you're working, you're out of balance. You're not with your family. But like, I think I love like kind of where your head's at with that too. Like I agree. I just don't think that it's healthy
have this mentality of like, I'm just going to be chilling for when my kids come. Like it's like, they got stuff they're going to go do, man. They go to school, right? Like, and they got sports they want to play. Like,
yeah, it's weird. It's like, I'm going to become some kind of multimillionaire, retire, and then I'm going to have like a wife and kids, and we're just going to go boating and travel. It's like, well, what the crap kind of kids are these going to be?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Weird.
I like it.
Yeah. Cool. So, talk to us about like recruiting. Do you have like a special take on recruiting, or your pitch or your approach to it?
So for me, like the last couple of years, I feel like I've leveled up my recruiting game in a big way. And for me, it's been about like casting vision for young. Like I wish my first 2 years I had the vision. And again, we've talked about it, but like, and maybe I needed to kind of not have the vision at first or whatever, but I just wish I would have had someone earlier put their arm around me and say, dude, this job actually, even if you just do it a year or two, like you should treat it like it's your full-time gig. Like you should go all in, because you go make 50 grand as a young kid, and you're living lean, like it can mean a ton to you. Like you go invest your money young, and that snowball. I think I read around that same time when I talk about that self-education, I read like in a Tony Robbins book, if someone were to invest $30,000 as like a 23-year-old and then never invest another dollar until they were like 60, it'd be worth like $1.5 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So I've gotten better at just casting vision for young people and getting them excited about using this as a vehicle to create wealth.
How deep do you go on like the financial stuff? Like, do you start?
Yeah.
If you're at a recruiting meeting, do you start literally doing math with a kid on their phone? Or?
Sometimes, if a kid's into it.
I do. That's why
I love the numbers and that stuff. Like I geek out on. I don't think you can
like this is like a weird point to bring up, but I don't think you can adequately understand the importance of going and balling out as a salesperson in your 20s,
right?
Unless you are either like good at mental math, I guess, or you've gone through the exercise of being like, what is 7% to the 10th power?
That's right.
You know? Like if you're listening to this, you can actually Google math stuff. Fun fact.
Oh yeah.
What is 1.07 to the 10th power?
Yeah.
What is 1.10 to the 10th power? That's what your stuff at 7 or 10% rate of return is going to be 10 years from now.
When I started getting obsessed about the math, like you're talking about, which again was going to my third summer, is when I leveled up. Because it was like, dude, the extra inches I'm fighting for, an extra 10 grand this summer saved and invested means a ton to me in 10 years.
Yeah, like 10 grand could be a whole, I mean, if you're doing like the move into a new house and get them all on FHA.
Dude, it's a house,
that's
which
a
like
whole
gets you
down payment.
Yeah, I mean, one of my best real estate deals is in Pleasant Grove, where your guys' office used to be.
Yep.
Down payment 16 grand, 2 units. I bought it 6-7 years ago. $16,000 down payment. We bought a duplex for $320K. That $320K today, that duplex is worth about $600,000.
Wild.
And it pays me $1,500 in cash flow every month. And it's like the best cash on cash deal I've done. So that's a little bit of a highlight reel. But like, to your point, like.
So pause.
Yeah.
$1,500 a month.
Yes.
12 months in a year, 18 grand.
Yes.
Let's just be extreme and say you hold this house for 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I plan to.
720,000.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I mean, it sounds like it's already doubled, but in 40 years, it's going to have quadrupled again.
Yep.
So anyway, the math starts to be stupid.
Right.
And that's the return on having made an extra $16,000. Which, I'm very pro, like, do your whole career in sales. But let's even say you just do 1 year. 16 grand could be the difference between your one summer doing sales versus lifeguarding that year.
That's exactly right. And that is how I recruit.
Yeah.
That's right. Like, it's that marginal... Like, let me cast a vision for you on what the inches, like, first of all, you should do sales. Second of all, why you should work really hard this summer. And it's that the inches add up. 16 grand for me is turned into, that one deal's turned into a couple $100 grand in extra equity and something that pays me every month. And then when you go do that a couple years and you recruit and you make $100,000 in a summer, just imagine how sexy, and not all my deals perform that way or whatever, but it's just like, it's pretty easy to get kids fired up when they see math like that. And if they're, and again, I got a 16 on the ACT score. Like, I'm not much of a math dude, but like, I can understand that kind of math, right? Yeah. And so that excites me. And I eat that stuff up.
That's fire. Love that. As we kind of wrap up, man, any parting advice to anybody or?
Yeah, I would say, for me, like the underdog path to creating wealth is sales plus leadership plus invest your money young, and you will create wealth if you'll get competent in all three of those things. And for everyone, it doesn't have to be like buy your own doors or whatever, but just invest your money young. But if I think you'll get a pay raise, and freedom will come as you like graduate through those competencies. Like become a great seller, become a great leader, and invest your money along the way. And regardless of who you are or what your upbringing was or how special you are, like you can do a lot of damage in this industry leaning into those three things.
Simple.
So
love it. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me, man. It was great to meet you.
You too.
Cool.